Hello, Sunday Funday crew. How's everybody doing? You guys excited for some football? It's week one. Just gonna go over some things real quick. So the rule changes for this year. There wasn't many rule changes. The big one, of course, was the extra game that is added by the NFL, and we decided to handle that by going into three divisions, no conferences. And the reason why we did that is because we can still keep a perfect schedule that way. So, with three divisions, you have four teams in each division. You're going to be able to play each team in your division twice and then play everybody else just once. Um, the other big change we did along with that was now there are seven teams in the making it into the playoffs instead of just six. Um, the best team, only the best team, not the top two, the best team of the regular season is now going to get a bye week. The other two division winners are going to automatically make it into the playoffs. So what that means is we're going to have four wild card spots this year, which is pretty nice. Four wild card spots, two division winners, and the best team in the league gets a bye week, and then we're gonna do overall record for I believe for the brackets for the playoffs. So I think this is an awesome change. A lot of people had a problem last year with the conferences because it meant that some teams from the good conference, because I kind of had a good conference and a bad conference, teams from the good conference weren't able to make it to the playoffs. That's no longer a thing this year. In fact, it is going to be possible for all four teams in the same division to make it into the playoffs, which is pretty cool. So, like, if there's one division that is stacked, which I actually believe there is a stacked division this year, if there's a stacked division, it might be possible for every team in that division to make it into the playoffs, which is I hope nobody feels cheated. I think it feels pretty good, and also we also have an extra playoff spot, so there might have even be a team that shouldn't even make it into the playoffs making it to the playoffs this year because more than half of the teams are going to make it. But I think it's a good change. Uh, I really do think it's a good change, and it's going to be good for the league. But enough about that. Why we're here to talk shit and to praise people because we are going to go ahead and do, at least I am going to go ahead and give my grades out for everybody. So we're going to start from left to right here. We're going to go right on over to Chalupa Batman, that is managed by Kim. Now we can see here that Kim got herself Aaron Rodgers and Aaron Jones. Those are her big spends, followed by DK Metcalf. And then here's the weird one, right? So this is going to be the big gamble, $51 for Kyle Pitts. So what I honestly think about this team is I like Aaron Rodgers. I like Aaron Jones. And her wide receivers are actually pretty good. You know, she got DK Metcalf, Aaron Thielen. I think an absolute steal of Mike Williams for $1. And her bench isn't that bad. You know, Smith and Marcus Valdez, they could do. Um, and Zach Ertz for $1 too. Like, that's a good little backup tight end. So in case Kyle Pitts doesn't work out, maybe Zach Ertz returns to form. Probably not, but who knows? Um, Overall, I give Chalupa Batman a B minus. Going on to Will's team, Midnight Rolling, in the same division as Chalupa Batman. Here we have him started with Russell Wilson, Derrick Henry. That's his big money guy right here. These two were his big money spends, $30 and $58 for these guys. He spent a lot of money on CeeDee Lamb, $25. I don't know if I would have spent that much on him, but overall, I think this is a very good team. You can see here he's got a lot of, even though I'm not that happy with the value from CeeDee Lamb, he's got really good values on his running back. So $11 for Gaskins, $12 for Sanders. Um, Russell Wilson for 30. That could end up being good. I mean, maybe, maybe not. But Fitzpatrick for 12, I like that a lot, you know. Fitzpatrick trooper. Never going to hang that. The big weakness with his team is he doesn't have a tight end. He's got this Fisker guy, never even fucking heard of him. Gerald Everett on the new team. Um, but overall, I think his team is really good. When you have this much running back talent, he actually has quarterback talent. Um, he's got solid wide receivers all around. I think this is the best team in the league. Um, I just realized I didn't give you guys my grade for Kim. So I graded Kim at a B minus for her team, and for Midnight Rolling, I am grading him an A. I actually think this is the best team in the league this year, the best drafted team in the league. I think Midnight Rolling is the best drafted team in the league. He's got an A from me. Going on to the next drafter here, we had uh, D Haas. He's injured reserve. Um, and he spread out his money pretty evenly all around. I think this actually gave him a pretty good team. Um, Taylor 35, Gibson 31. Look at this. Like everyone is like around this $20 range, and he's like 20, 30, and he's like got some solid players. Where he's really lacking is these quarterbacks right here. I like Sam Darnold for $1 a lot. Trey Lance for 5, maybe. Justin Herbert at $26 is a lot for him, I think. But regardless of that, his team just came out so balanced with Taylor and Gibson and like his running back squad so balanced along with his wide receivers. Like he's pretty good like all around. What he's really missing out on is that his depth on the quarterback isn't that good. His tight end is weak. I think this is where he's going to suffer a lot. And he's also gambling on running back depth. Like he's got like a lot of backups and stuff as his backup running backs, even though his starting two are really solid, like awesome starting two. Um, Overall, I give injured reserve a B plus. I actually like this team a lot, and this is going to be in. I believe this is in the same division as uh, the bottom of this division on our website there, but it is Kyle, Sean, Darren, and Rob are in that division, and I think that is a really stacked division. But anyway, regardless, I give injured reserve a B plus. Going on to our next team, we got Victor Morales with is the spreading the disease, keeping the same year name from last year. I'm talking about keeping the same last year. Diaz, you gotta change your name, bud. Your team is no longer super injured. Maybe you can come for a new team, or you're gonna keep that injured reserve alive for forever. But whatever, we're going back to spreading the disease here for Victor, and he's over in the division with myself, Dylan, and Holden. So what I like about this team is that he's solid on his wide receivers. With you got McLaurin, Cooper here, Tyler Boyd for only $3, Jarvis Landry's for only $2. I think his wide receivers are all around solid. Um, which is pretty good. And then his big purchase was Darren Waller for 65. I think he way overspent for Darren Waller. Personally, that's just me. Um, but he was really solid last year. And tight end is very important in our league. So he's got a very solid wide receivers along with Darren Waller. And but his big weakness here is that his quarterback's behind Ben Roethlisberger. So I really like Ben for $11. I think that's a really good value. But then he's got Carson Wentz and Mac Jones. So he's really gambling on Carson Wentz being healthy and Mac Jones actually not being playing like a rookie quarterback. In what was a really bad football team last year. So his depth at quarterback is kind of weak. But let's say Carson Wentz balls out in Indianapolis. You never know. This could end up just being a really good team. Um, and His other weakness, I would say, is behind Najee. He doesn't really have running backs, and like he's got Harris and Lindsey. That's it. Those are his only running backs um, that he drafted. So he doesn't have any depth there. So he might be having some issues, and he also gambled a lot of money on a rookie running back. We don't really know what that's going to happen. I think this is a good team. I gave it a B. That was my grade because he's gambling a lot on a lot of stuff. He has a really solid tight end. He might have spent too much money on tight end. I really think he got great value on his wide receivers, but I still give it just a B. Uh, the next team we are going to is Captain McGee. That's myself, in the same division as Victor here and spreading the diseases. I actually really liked how I started my draft when I got Christian McCaffrey, George Kittle, and Tom Brady. I think I nailed that out of the park. I actually believe I underpaid for all of these players, those three players. I had Kittle around $60. I had Brady around 30, um, and McCaffrey at 70. So didn't get that big of a discount on McCaffrey, but I actually think I got really good value on these. Where I went wrong is I don't think I did too well at the back half of my draft. I really like getting Robinson for $12. I was kind of okay, kind of maybe not with Mike Evans for 21. Um, but I don't know. I just didn't feel too good about my depth. I still think I have a really solid team though. I'm gonna have Baker Mayfield and Jameis Winston for $7 each. I'll be able to pick and choose which one I think has the best matchup at the second quarterback spot. Kittle, I think is gonna do awesome. Hopefully McCaffrey goes back to being McCaffrey, and I think I have a really solid team. I gave myself a B plus overall. Again, my only weaknesses I think is my running back depth. My second, third wide receivers might be not be that too good, but I think for our meta, I think my team ended up being still a B plus. I still think it's a really strong team. Next team up, we got Betancourt, Ariel. I'll leave right here. And go over here to my notes. His because I gotta look up what his new team name is Gariel's Pola Chupando Kono Daddy Daycare from from Holden here, um, and his strengths to me is that he's got two absolute studs at running back with Kamara and Elliott. That's like half of his money went right into those guys. Obviously, that's going to be a big strength. And then he followed up with Hopkins at wide receiver too for $29. I think that's a great deal. Um, his tight ends are playable as well. Logan Thomas, Hawkinson, maybe too much, $21 for Hawkinson, but they are playable starters at tight end. Um, I think where his weaknesses lie is his quarterbacks are absolute dog shit. So he's got Jared Goff at Detroit. I'm not a fan of this. I don't think Jared Goff was a good quarterback to start. I'm putting him in. That was when he was in a good, actually good offense. Now he's going to Detroit. And then he's got Jimmy Garoppolo. Who knows how long this guy is going to keep starting? And Teddy Bridgewater. Like this dude, he has no quarterbacks. So this this is such a question mark on his team right here. These three guys at quarterbacks is such a giant question mark. And then not to mention his depth is just weird. So like I like Henry Ruggs and he's got rookie wide receivers and James White, but it's like carrying around four tight ends on his roster, Rob Gronkowski, Evan Ingram. Actually, I think he just traded with Gronkowski. I'll have to check that in a bit, but I think there was just a trade that just happened while I was writing the shit down. Regardless, I think this is one of the weakest teams in the league, and I'm sorry, Ariel. I think you're going to be a punching bag again. The name free real estate should have been given to you because it's going to remain true for the season. I think you're going to be free real estate again this year, and I gave you a C. I'm sorry, bud. Going on to the next team, we got previously Martial Law, our buddy Rob. His new team name is Deontay's Johnson which I'm sure has got to sting a little bit considering he's a Cincinnati Bengals fan and his team is based off a Steeler. And then you're also a penis. Your team is a penis. Um, so his strength, I really like what he did at quarterback, and his running backs are overall good, and his tight end. So like we got Patty Mahomes and Lamar Jackson. He threw all his money behind quarterbacks, and then he's also got Justin Fields as a $7 flyer, who could end up being a starting quarterback, maybe good. Who knows? I mean, that's a little bit give or take, but he's got a lot of money in the quarterback position, and that should be a strength for him. His running backs are overall good. Montgomery, Sermon, Kareem Hunt, Mike Davis, and then um, Gus Edwards, unfortunately, just went out with an injury. Like, how crazy is it that we wait till the last day of the season to do our draft so we can avoid these injuries and stuff, and then immediately the day after the draft we still have an injury. That is so brutal. I'm sorry, Rob. That fucking sucks. But it's a good thing you got depth otherwise on your team. Um, I also like your wide receivers, even though you didn't spend that much money, or you like spent so little money on your wide receivers. And you're like gonna be kind of gambling on which one hits, and I mean, it's still a weakness because you spent so little money on it, but I think it's still gonna be serviceable. Um, but overall, I still think it's a really good team. I really do, man. I think you'll be able to make something do in your flex positions, and with the running backs, you'll be able to start. And quarterbacks are just going to give you a lot of points. And I think you got such a good deal, Mark Andrews, for only $23. I think you're going to get a lot of points out of the other positions. The wide receivers might not matter that much. I gave your team a B plus. I think Deontay Johnson is going to be a good team this year. So yeah, B plus. And Rob again, I think is he's in that division with Darren, Sean, and Kyle. So that's a rough division, but B plus again. Just like injured reserve was also a B plus. So that's two B plus teams on the same division already. And then let's go on to the next team. We got Magic Skull Bus by the commish Dylan. He's in the division myself, Holden, and Victor. His strengths, I like what he did at quarterback. He's got Dalvin and a very good balance on his wide receivers. So Matt Stafford and Josh Allen spent a lot of money here at quarterbacks, but ended up being very good quarterbacks choices. And then he's got his stud running back every week. And Calvin Lilly, Cooper Cup, those are just going to carry him and his wide receivers. And it's not like his other wide receivers, are awful. They're dollar guys, but you could probably find someone to play Beasley, AJ Green, Kirk. I'm sure he'll find people to plug in on that third wide receiver spot. Um, where his real weakness is he doesn't have a second running back. So he's got Dalvin Cook, and then Marlon Mack is like not gonna get much playing time in Indianapolis. I don't think, at least. He's got Booker, Le'Veon Bell, which I don't think is gonna end up getting a carry in Baltimore, even with all the injuries. He doesn't really have a second running back, so that's hard. That's gonna be real hard. It's like not gonna getting like maybe 5 points per week out of one of your starting positions. And his tight end is going to be trying to pick and choose between one of these three guys, and he's going to be kicking himself because he's going to start one guy and the other guy blows up, and it's like he's never going to know which one to start. Unfortunately, I think this may be the weakest team Dylan has ever drafted. Feels bad. I grade Dylan with a C. I think this is one of the weakest teams in the league just because of that second running back and no real tight end. I think there was just too much money thrown at quarterbacks, and even though it's a really strong start, it's like too much money at running back and wide receiver, or at quarterback and wide receiver. My apologies. He just didn't have any depth. So we'll see what happens here, but To me, it's one of the weakest teams. Next team, we're going on over to Holden's team, who is keeping the name Elderly Gangbang, even though somebody else named them Elderly Gangbang. He's keeping that team. It was, I guess, a lucky name. He won the league as Elderly Gangbang, and he's just gonna keep rolling with it. Um, See here. I'm gonna check what league he or what division Holden is in with. Oh yeah, he's right. He's in my division with Holden and or with Dylan and Victor. Uh, what I like about his team is his quarterbacks and his wide receivers. So you see, he's got Kyler Murray. I think that's a lot of money for Murray, but he followed it up with Matt Ryan and got Daniel Jones for just $1. So he's got three quarterbacks, pretty good. And his wide receivers are really solid. I mean, he spent $80 on wide receivers between Adams and Diggs, right? Like, starting wide receivers are super solid. Quarterback play is going to be good. His running back play is like he's got like these startable good guys. Chris Carson, Henderson. You didn't pay a lot for these guys. $12, $17. Um, it's a good team. Like where he suffers obviously is tight end. He's got Dallas Goddard. I know we have a lot of Philly guys and thinks Goddard is the shit and he's gonna be the second coming or whatever, but um I don't know, guys. I don't know. I don't know. I'm not willing to give the credit yet. Um and obviously he Holden didn't have any depth because he didn't know how to work the app. So everybody else on his team, he didn't even want on his team, just ended up being given to him because he refused to listen and didn't know how to work the app. Regardless, I still think it's a good team. I give Holden a B. Starting lineup is pretty solid. He's going to give people problems, just not the super team from last year. I don't think Holden follows up with another championship. Maybe he gets to the playoffs and gets knocked out early. That's just me personally, what I think. Next team, we're going on over to Sean's team. Sean Daly, Kyle's brother. He renamed this team, and I forgot what it was. I don't know. May Lata, my Balzac hurts. My Balzac hurts. Sean Daly's team right here. So for what I think he did really well, he's got three very strong running backs. So he's got Joe Mixon, Nick Chubb, Mostert. Solid three running backs. He's gonna be able to flip these guys in and out. His wide receivers are also solid. Keenan Allen, Woods, Ayuk, Chenault for $3, Hollywood Brown for $2. He's he's didn't really get that many $1 guys. I think he's got like really good deals on like being at late in the draft, being able to just like one up people on players they wanted and got them really cheap, right? He did that really well. Um, Now, what where I viewed this team as a weakness is I think he's kind of like gambling on quarterback and his tight ends. So going with the rookie from New York Jets quarterback, Hurts and Tannehill. So he's going to be picking between Hurts and Zach Wilson. Tannehill is probably going to be every down starter. Pay $28 for Tannehill. I think is a little high, but you know, you kind of do what you have to when there aren't that many options left to you, I guess. And he's just going to be gambling between these quarterbacks and these tight ends. I'm not really a believer on Higby and Jonu Smith. Um, but regardless of that, I think his running backs are so solid, and he has such a good wide receiver lineup that I still think this is one of the better teams in the league. And I also rated him a B plus. So in the same division, we got injured reserve. I gave a B plus. We got my ball Zach Hurts rated him B plus, and Deontay Johnson also a B plus. So that's three B plus teams in the same division. Kind of whack. You guys are gonna be beating each other up a lot. And the next team here we have Gary's team who got renamed, but actually he didn't get renamed a bad name. But I also don't understand the name that much. So He was renamed the space between 31 and 9. I know the space between is supposed to be a Dave Matthews song, I believe, which Gary's a fan of. And 31 and 9, I have no idea what that's about. Whatever, it doesn't sound like a bad name to me. So whoever renamed this team did a was a nice person, I guess. Um, and Gary here is in the same division with Will, Kim, and Ariel. Um, and his strengths, I would say, are his running backs because he got so many of them, and he has several good starting running backs on his team. He's just gonna have a nice stable of running backs to go through. I know I'm sure that he might be able to work out a trade with this many running backs to try to fill the rest of his team because he's gonna need it. His only other star is Tyreek Hill. $42 got Tyreek Hill. Spent a lot of money on this one wide receiver. So he's got a bunch of running backs and one wide receiver. That's it. Because I don't like the rest of his team. Like the running back thing is a blessing and a curse, I guess, because he can only start three of them, and he might, do the thing where he picks the wrong three every week. Um, and then he's got Julio Jones as a second wide receiver for $20, and quite honestly, I don't know. Julio Jones might not be that good anymore. Like he's gonna have to learn a new playbook, new quarterback. I don't know. I'm personally not a believer. And then not to mention he doesn't have a tight end. He literally doesn't have a tight end. He has like the second tight end on the Chiefs as his only tight end on his roster, and his quarterbacks are Derek Carr and Tua. This is a team of Tyreek Hill and running backs. That's it. Like that's all he has. And I graded him the worst team in the league at D plus. So and to round out his division, we had Midnight Rolling, which I graded as the best team, an A. Chalupa Batman, which I rated a B minus. We have the Space Between, which is himself, with a D plus, and Gariel's Pola Chapando Kono Daddy Daycare with a C. So this is like by far the weakest division in the league, and Will just happens to have the best team in the league in that division. I think this man is gonna stomp through the league, and is gonna have the bye week, um, and has a very strong chance to win the championship. I think this might be Midnight Rolling's year. Um, but let's go on to our last team. Last but not least, we got Kyle Daly. Very good fantasy football guy. I think probably the best fantasy football mind out of all of us. But I personally didn't like his draft too much. I think he came in with a plan, and the plan didn't quite work as out like he thought it would, and his team didn't really become as good as he was hoping it would be. So what I ended up happening was he spent $69 on Travis Kelsey, which he's got absolute stud. I mean, Kelsey carried me all of last season. Dude is a beast. In our league, he's a super monster, probably the best player in our league, I would say. Um, and he got Saquon Barkley. Those are like his big money spends. So if Saquon Barkley comes back, is Saquon Alode, $35 is just absolute steal for him. Got Travis Kelsey. Those are really strong. When you spend so much money on one player like this, I feel like you have to get values everywhere else, and I personally don't think you did. Dak Prescott for $22 is okay. Burrow for 13, I think that's too much. I personally don't believe in Burrow myself. Trevor Lawrence for 7, I don't know what Trevor Lawrence is going to do this year. I think that offense is going to be dog shit. To me, Trevor Lawrence is a $1 player. Um, Wide receivers turned out okay. You got steals on your wide receivers. You really did. But what ended up the problem was is you don't have a second running back. Naheem Hines, you know, can catch a couple of passes and stuff. But You know what? Tyson Williams may just end up saving you. That Gus Edwards injury may end up saving your team, and I may have to change my grade because I originally gave you a B minus, but that Gus Edwards injury just might push you up over to a B now because you actually have another playable second running back. Regardless, your team just has solid wide receivers that you're gonna have to try to pick and choose which one is good, which one is bad every week. Your running back depth is not that good, but you know what? I still think Travis Kelsey, Saquon Barkley, and Dak Prescott are still really good. I think your team's somewhere between a B minus or a B. I rated you a B minus before the Gus Edwards injury. I think I'm gonna have to rate you a B, which rounds out your division with B plus, B plus, B plus, B. That's a that's a stack division in my book. Um, but yeah, that's it for the me grading you guys' teams. Um, let's just go ahead and go on into uh, our actual league here. So here again, you can take a look at our divisions. You guys can take a look. Let's just go ahead and look at the games. I'm rambling a little bit too much. So I think game of the week this week is going to be personally my game against spreading the diseases and myself here. King McGee versus spreading the diseases. Victor. Both teams are projected over 150 points. And personally, I think spreading the diseases is getting a little bit too much credit on his total here. I'm gonna give myself the win. I think it's gonna be a really close game, really high scoring from both sides. It's got Big Ben, got Tom Brady going tonight, so uh, unfortunately it's gonna be raining. But regardless, I think this is gonna be a really good game, game of the week. Uh, I I take the win. Our second match here, we have Gario versus Chalupa Batman. And we got projected of 148 versus a projected of 137. And I actually think this game is a lot closer than the projected. Feel like Tim's team, Chalupa Batman, is under projected at the moment. I think some of our players can come out and surprise, like Leonard Fournette at only 7 points. I think that's really low. And I don't know. I think picking a winner here is pretty hard. A lot of gambling on this Kyle Pitts here. But I am going to go with the team that I think is the overall better team, which is Chalupa Batman. I think she's the underdog by projections, but I think her team is actually really underprojected this match, and I think Chalupa Batman is going to win this game. The next game, we got the brother versus brother matchup, Queen of Thorns versus my Balzac hurts. Um, I love that you guys changed your pictures already. Um, and this matchup could have been the game of the week. Like both teams are projected at 148 points. Like how you can't. That's so close. And as a brother versus brother, this actually should have probably been the game of the week, honestly. But if I'm gonna be with all honesty, I think Queen of Thorns is over projected this week. I don't think he's gonna score as many points as the projected is saying that he's going to. And I think Big Brother is going to take it. We go. My ball Zach Hurts. I think is going to win this matchup here. Start off the season. Next game is Midnight Rolling versus the Space Between. I don't really feel like I have to go through this one. Midnight Rolling is the best team in the league, going up against some of the weakest teams in the league. Midnight Rolling is just going to roll on through that matchup and win. Next game is Elderly Gangbang versus the Magic School Bus. I've got Holden versus Dylan here. It's a big gap, kind of 156 points to 144 points in the projections. But honestly, I don't think the gap should be that big. Dylan's got some good matchups, and I think he will make this a close game. I really do. I think his team is probably going to make this a very close game, but I don't think it's going to be quite enough. I think Gangbang is going to gangbang all over this bus. The seniors are going to get in that bus and make it messy, and Gangbang is going to come out with the win. And for the last game of the week, we got Injured Reserve versus Deontay Johnson. We got Darren here versus Rob. And it sucks, man. I can't believe you lost your running back already. And I'm gonna assume that you're gonna start Kareem Hunt in that spot now. Um, but I still think injured reserves gets the win here. Look at this projected difference, 153 to 132. It's yeah, injured reserves got a really good team. I think it takes this one down. All right, that was all, guys. Yeah, thanks for listening to me ramble. Have a good one.